up, everybody? What up? It smells so good in here. I gotta give a shout out to my man Reggie over at Basehead Customs. Thank you for the air freshener. I'm telling you, it smells so good in here. It makes me not want to drop the top and let the scent out. So if you need that real smell good for your car, my man Reggie got the fragrances for your car, man. You got Zoo smelling amazing. So a lot of times I get inspired when I see other cars. When I drive by this location, I don't know how good you can see that. I don't know how good you can see that, but there's a storage location for Caravana cars. So when you purchase a car from Caravana, it might just come out of this area if you live right in the Midwest, like the Chicagoland, Iowa, possibly Indiana and Ohio area. The car is probably coming from here. Now, I drive past every now and then. I see some really interesting cars. I see a couple G Wagons. I've seen an Audi R8. I've seen 2 Acura NSXs. So Caravana actually does have some unique vehicles. Wait a minute, what is really going on? Well, moving forward today, I'm just out having fun. And sometimes you have fun and bring up fun conversations. So today, let's get into a fun conversation. And the fun conversation for me would be, what vehicles could you actually buy that will make people think that, you balling? I mean, as my man MC Breeze to say, ain't no future when you frontin', but some people need to front and stunt. So let's talk about it. I feel like let's just do I'll say a number 5 to 1. So I would like to say a 2015 Range Rover. The reason why I say a 2015 Range Rover is because you can actually find them with reasonable miles somewhere in the $30,000 price range. And the funny thing about that is that body style looks so close to a 2019, 2020 Range Rover body style that people will still think you have an up-to-date Range Rover and you spent that money. So for the low price of being somewhere in the $30,000 margin, you can have a Range Rover and people will be thinking, especially if you put some wheels on it, do a slight modification, you balling. It's crazy how many people can't tell the difference between the 2015 and the 2017 and the 2020 Range Rover unless you get in the inside. But from the exterior, there are some slight modification differences, but most people can't tell. So if you grab one, people gonna think you're balling. Now, another car that I feel would give you this type of status would be a Mercedes SL. And I'm talking about going back to not the most recent, but the Mercedes XL when it was a hardtop convertible. The reason why I mentioned this car is because the Mercedes SL is a hardtop convertible. And that alone is a statue. And when it was brand new, you can find them all the way maxing out to about $150,000, starting somewhere right around 100 grand. These cars depreciate so fast because they're pretty much an in-betweener. And what I mean by in-betweener is a vehicle that really isn't a sports car, yet it's not truly a roadster. So it has a crazy real spot in the Mercedes lineup. See, Mercedes has the AMG GT for the performance brand, and they have other cars in the coupe area that are convertibles that fit more of that true GT roadster feel. So this car is supposed to be on the high platform, but the marketplace for it and its fitment is kind of awkward because you have a Mercedes GT or AMG GT that in theory is in the same price range. So why would you just not get that, which has a more grand statue? I guess for the ride, comfort or not, who knows? But if you ask me, rolling around in one of those cars would definitely give you a little status and make people think you spent some money. Another car is the Maserati Gran Turismo. It's something about having a two-door coupe or even convertible, which I would prefer the convertible. But it's something about having a two-door coupe that makes the Maserati Gran Turismo and the name and the badge on it carry so much weight. So when you look at this car, a lot of people see it and they instantly think, and I say instantly think you spent money. But for those of us that's actually in the car community and pay attention to things like this, we know that the Maserati Gran Turismo depreciates for some odd reason extremely quickly. The only one that has been able to seem to maintain some form of respectable value has been the last 2 years, which I believe was the 2018 and the 2017 or the 2019. And pretty much they're the one with the updated interior infotainment system similar to that of a Dodge Charger. So when you see that version, that infotainment system seems to hold out a lot of weight. But the other ones, again, we're talking about a vehicle that will fall into the $30,000 price realm. And so spending $30,000 on a vehicle of that caliber with the Ferrari engine, the Ferrari sounding exhaust, I just tell you, man, it makes it look like you have a little dinero that you may have not thought that you actually had. What I mean is, it makes it like you got money or you spent a lot of money on a very elegant car. I think this is the perfect time to take a quick break. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driversedition community. This is an interactive community, so if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms, I will do my best to respond to you, and I may make a video based off the topic you bring up. So become a member, subscribe to the channel. For all my military members, both active and veterans, I'd like to give you guys a big salute because we know freedom isn't free. And because of you guys, it's the reason we get to enjoy the things we enjoy and do what we do today. So again, salute to all my military family members, active members, and veterans. But let's get back to this video. Now, one of the most recognizable cars is a Bentley. And to be truthful with you, the Bentley Continental GT has made very few changes over the course of a 15-year period. So if you look at the Continental GT from 2004 to 2020, Continental GT really hasn't changed. You can find an older Bentley pretty much 2010 and under for the $30,000 price range, possibly $40,000. Now, who wouldn't like riding around in a Bentley for that type of money? But because the body hasn't really changed that much, only true Bentley enthusiasts and lovers would recognize that you're not riding around in a 2016, 17 car, which is still pulling somewhere in the mid $100,000 price range. So if you're rolling around in one of these cars in the earlier years, you can have that look and that status presence, but not actually spend that money. Now, the problem with this car is, I'm not going to say problem, but one of the things about owning a car that old is that understand you're not really going to find too many warranties that's going to cover this car, and the repair costs, unless you know somebody, can possibly add up quickly and cost you a pretty little penny. But overall, it is definitely a car I will put on this list, probably my number one car on this list, if you want to look like you balling but really can't afford nothing. I hope you enjoyed the selection so far, but we are closing in on number one. But before we get to the number one vehicle, go ahead, let me know what you think of the vehicles I listed so far in the comments below, and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you think I missed a vehicle, or if there's a vehicle I didn't mention that would make your top 5. Hit me up in the comments below. I guess we finally made it to the number one option. And the number one option, if you ask me, that will be the Mercedes G Wagon. Now, I went back and forth between the Bentley and the G Wagon for the number one option. Now I'm going to tell you why I chose the G Wagon as number one. In essence, the G Wagon has surpassed the Range Rover for the ultimate luxury SUV. You would consider the G Wagon if you want to show that you were in the upper luxury class, or you had superb luxury and finances to match your taste. The G Wagon has surpassed the Range Rover in this category pretty much because Range Rover has done nothing but come out with more watered down versions of their vehicle, which has left Mercedes in the class stating that we refuse to be fuel efficient and less superior than our competitors. So the G Wagon is definitely a statement for I'm willing to spend top dollar to own this vehicle. And the one thing about the G Wagon too is that the body style or body design has pretty much remained unchanged for quite some time. I mean, let's look at it. You can look at a 2003 Mercedes G Wagon, look at a 2012 G Wagon, look at a 2015 G Wagon, and minus the minor changes to the lights, even when you step up into the year 2022 or current day, the lights are really the only thing that has changed on the exterior design. But I will admit, finally in 2019, the interior of the G Wagon has taken a major leap forward to match the ultra luxury prestige that the vehicle has always carried. So if you're looking at a 2020 and newer G Wagon, I agree, it actually matches the ultra luxury tag or prestige that the vehicle owns. But that's not what we're looking at today as this number one feature. What we're looking at the number one feature is the Mercedes G Wagon, because the body style has pretty much not changed, because the interior styling has pretty much not changed, minus some few infotainment upgrades. If you can get your hands on a 2012 or 2013 G Wagon, you have the same luxury that's in the 2018 for a fraction of the cost. And that's one thing that's also beautiful about the Mercedes G Wagon is the G Wagon is one of the few vehicles that you can actually buy used, say 3 to 5 years old, and then keep it for another 3 years and pretty much almost sell it for the same price you bought it for if you keep the miles driven under 20,000 miles over that 3-year span. So ultimately, the cost of ownership will be any maintenance and interest you paid on the car for owning it. Think about that. And that's why I say for my number one vehicle, because this vehicle has been unchanged for 15 years. And once you cross that 10 to 12 year timeline, so you can look at a 15-year-old G Wagon and it'll still be somewhere in the realm of, let's just say, $38,000 to $50,000. You can find a 10-year-old G Wagon somewhere in the realm of $38,000 to $50,000. And if you happen to buy one, unless somebody gets into the interior or they're expecting it to be a 2020 G Wagon, you almost can never tell the factor that it's dated. So you can actually go out and buy you a 2013 or a 2015 G Wagon for a reasonable cost, drive it for a couple of years, retain some value, and still have a vehicle that looks like a 2019. And for that purpose and for that value retenancy, I would say the Mercedes G Wagon is the number one choice for vehicles that you can buy for a fraction of the cost, but make people think you spent big money. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my list. But again, ICNV Driver's Edition, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver's Edition community. Again, we are an interactive community, which means that if you reach out to me on any one of my social media platforms or comment in the comments below, I will do my best to respond. If the topic is interesting, I may make a video about it. But always remember to chase your dreams, build your visions. Don't let anyone discourage you. It is okay to be unique. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in these streets. Peace.